It. Okay. So I think it's time to get out of here. I'm gonna leave my notes on the magical plague. It's not a plague, but like how it's probably being caused by this fiend getting taken out,
Okay.
and that they should be very wary of anyone suddenly showing these symptoms. And some information on just like the notes that we found. And then I'm going to have my Tressum fly towards the wall, or on the other side of the courtyard.
Okay.
And I'm going to start walking that way.
As you direct your Tressum to fly in that direction, the Tressum is dispelled.
All right.
And you lose access to it. Yeah, the last thing you see through your Tressum is the Blackjacket. When he sees that he breaks this circling pattern and is moving away from him, you see a somatic gesture with one of his hands. And then the Tressum blinks away. So you're moving back to the far end of the courtyard?
Well, I'm thinking now, because I'm deciding whether or not this is messed up enough that maybe I just want to turn myself in.
So there's, as far as you know, there's only one entrance into the area. That's the gate that you came through where the Blackjackets are outside now. However, a compound of this size must have other entrances and exits in it. Servants' entrances and things like that. Secret bricks and walls, what have you. The kind of thing you'd see in like a King's Quest game.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to just accept that I'm getting turned in here.
Okay.
So I'm going to just take my notes and I'm going to start walking deeper into the compound to see if I can find someone important enough to just give them to before I get taken out.
Are you looking for just somebody to take them off your hands, or are you looking for somebody to take them seriously?
Someone to take them seriously.
Okay. Make a charisma check.
I actually care enough about this that I'm just going to use one of my foresight die.
Okay.
That is a 15.
You get up away from the fountain, and you start heading back towards... There are multiple doors and entrances into the main building from this courtyard. You pick the one that you think looks the most important. You head in that direction. And as soon as you get to the... It's not really a doorway, just a large stone arch. A man in a red robe puts his hand on your shoulder and kind of spirits you around the corner. And he puts his finger up to his lips. He tells you that he's heard why you're here. And he wants to know everything you have to say about it. But the Blackjackets are probably going to apprehend you, so you only have a few moments.
And I hand them over the note.
How extensive are these notes?
They're pretty extensive. Like, they don't contain anything incriminating, like, we literally just went and killed this specific guy,
okay.
But they describe, like, the type of fiend that was destroyed, the things it is capable of, the things that we have found notes on in the past.
Does it use the word Rakshasa?
Yes.
He opens up his robe, and you see a large fold in it. And he says, anything you're carrying on your person that you don't want the Blackjackets to confiscate. And he motions to the large pocket that he has sewn on the inside of his robe.
Alright. I think I'm just going to... I don't think I actually have anything super shady on me. I think I'm good.
Okay.
Because the only thing that they could possibly take from me is my spell focus, and I'd rather that be nearby.
Okay. And then
quickly
as this man in a robe has appeared around the corner, disappears again. And no sooner does he go down the hallway than you hear, calling out from the courtyard, someone calling your name.
Uh-huh. And I'll head out into the courtyard.
And the two Blackjackets are standing there. Neither one you recognize. I mean, you've only crossed paths with them a few times over your adventures, but you don't recognize these two men. One of them is listing off your crimes against the crown. That there's been a murder in Wharftown, a citizen in good standing, and listing off the names of the accomplices that they've been told to look for. You and 4 other names that you recognize very, very well.
So, like, the gentleman, that guy with the soup.
The guy with the soup, right.
I mean, Alex was invisible the whole time, but...
No, but they know who Flump Inc. is, and they know that who
Sure,
you all
sure.
are associated with.
Right.
I thought, for some reason, I had thought Florian was the one who was invisible the whole time. No, I guess you're right. It was Alex.
Well, Florian always goes invisible. That's fair.
So, they ask you how you answer to these allegations.
And I say, not guilty, and I'd like to speak to Captain. I don't remember his name. What's the name of that guy that we met that gave us the puzzle book?
Wait, so which guy?
The,
Oh,
puzzle,
okay, no,
the guy
yeah,
who
yeah,
gave
yeah.
us the puzzle book? Yeah.
Captain Giorgio.
Yep.
The two of them exchange glances for a moment. They say it's a long walk to the White Hart District from here. They would like to fill the time with conversation about your associates and where they can be found. They've sent some men out to your barge and saw that they weren't home. Just wondering when they'll be available, whether they can facilitate a meeting or not. You'll have time to talk about all of this as they take you into custody.
Mm-hmm.
Does Seeker do anything to resist this arrest?
Nope.
What are the rest of you doing for the rest of the day until it's time to leave?
Who's got
Gus.
sending to try and get a hold of Seeker?
Send a what?
Who's got access to sending to get a hold of Seeker?
I mean, I was just going to be waiting at the barge.
That was my impression, was that the 5 of you were just going to meet back up at...
Or not the barge, the trade ship that we were going to...
Right,
Yeah.
we were going to meet back up on your vessel when you were letting out tonight.
Yeah.
So nobody else doing anything today?
No.
Oh, do I want to do that? Yeah, I'm going to go. I'm going to take 20 gold pieces to the blacksmith in the Shallows and purchase a weapon.
Purchase a weapon?
Yeah.
And just any sort of weapon?
No. Give me a second. Hold on.
What can I get
Wait a
for 20?
minute. You don't look like a cleric of some sort.
No. I'm gonna get a glaive. Just get a glaive, and then I'm going to spend the time when I'm like in our downtime. I'm going to like switch around my my ritual stuff,
Okay. Yeah,
my
go ahead.
summon weapons.
Whatever the price of the glaive is in the PHP is
Yeah.
fine.
So my two can summon weapons are the glaive and that it's not a scimitar, it's a cutlass.
Okay. Seeker.
Yeah.
Do you surrender your spell focus over to these men?
Yep.
They just want to hold it for safekeeping. They wouldn't want anything to damage it while they're
That makes
clearing up this whole situation. What do you tell them about your Flump Inc. compatriots, if anything?
I told them the publicly available information.
So you tell them, like, Gus is the prettiest.
Uh-huh.
They don't take you to a jail in the White Hart District. They don't process you the way, like what happened with Alex. They take you to, from the outside, it looks like it might have been a tavern once in the White Hart District. On the opposite side of the place from where the jails are located. So you're closer into... I think there's actually like a cliff or a wall separating Whiteheart from here and from the cliffs leading down to the sea. You're furthest from the sea. From the outside, it looks like it might have been a tavern at one point. Windows are boarded up, but it doesn't look dilapidated. The building still looks like it's in good repair. And when they open the door, you see that there's light from inside. There's already a fire in the hearth. And they sit down at the table, and they begin bombarding you with all kinds of questions about Savad, about your investigation, about things that happened in the sewers.
Mm-hmm.
Do you make any attempt to resist a Zone of Truth spell?
No.
Okay. So when they ask you where the rest of Flumph Inc. is today, what do you tell them?
I tell them that last time I saw them, I sent them to go warn a nobleman that he might be murdered,
Which nobleman?
and I'll give them the name.
And periodically, they take breaks in this questioning to call people in or out of the room, either from off the street or from deeper into this building, giving them orders, whispering things that you can't hear. And it seems like they're sending somebody off to confirm this information. They ask you what Flumph Inc.'s connection is with Sigurd Tensales.
I tell him that he hired us in order to get rid of this fiend that has been in town. And I tell them that he seems to be attempting to use us as some sort of publicity campaign since we're popular with the people.
He asks you whether you like Sigurd for king.
I tell him that I think Sigurd might be a good king, but I'm not sure. He's the person I know the best of the people looking for king.
Okay. The four of you on the outside, the idea is you're just going to finish up your business today, make your way to the boat tonight, and nobody's gonna have any idea that Sigurd's missing until then. Is that correct?
I was
Yeah.
basically hiding out someplace out of sight near the boat.
Okay.
Before we
I could spend a couple of copper pieces in like a room in a flop house.
What was Gus saying?
before we go, do we want to like present our bills to Surefoot and Oswald, because they also owe us money for the Flying Pig? Or are you going to wait till that's over, till we come back?
I don't really want to spend any more time out and about town than we have to. Oswald will be fine for it because he's, from what I can tell, a criminal. So it's not like he's gonna. And Surefoot,
Okay.
it's not. I mean, I'm not gonna worry about Surefoot right now. I think.
I can tell you it'll make Seeker happier than, that you come back with some money after giving away 2,500 gold pieces.
But not our house or a receptionist.
We could have literally hired people to just do this for like a quarter
You
of
can't
that.
hire a spellcaster for an unspecified amount of time for 2,500 gold pieces.
I like how I ask a simple question and it turns into a financial debate.
Yeah,
That's why
no,
this is a good party.
And it's like here I am trying to I want to conclude some business since we're leaving town. Lucius wants to pay a runner to. Actually, no, Lucius would probably go over himself. He would go over to the Keyskin embassy and pay his eyes up front.
Okay.
Just tell him, just keep your eyes open. I'm going to be out of town for a few days.
Very good.
That's it.
Seeker, at some point, a third blackjacket, another man you don't recognize, enters the room and begins admonishing the first two men. Kind of takes over the questioning. Their Zone of Truth spell has actually been... the source of it is a candle that burns incredibly quickly, that they can replace and re-up as often as they need to. It's like a little magic item that they have that does the same thing as the spell, it just originates from a candle rather than their spell. And he sends the other two men out. He sits down at the table very seriously, kind of worrying at the last drips of wax coming off the second or third candle you've gone through at this point. He says, well, you and I are going to be stuck together for the next couple of hours. Do you play cards? Sing songs? Shall we send for food?
Seeker shrugs and says, I could eat.
It's a good thing you're a gnome. Because the barrel that I'm going to send you away in, otherwise I have to fold you in half. And he makes a motion with his arms. It's unpleasant business, lasting damage to the lower back. I overheard what you said with the men earlier, that you'd think 10 sails would make a good king.
And Seeker kind of looks at the candle and says, I don't remember saying that.
This man gives you no information about who he is or what he's doing. He attempts to evade every question you put to him and tries to steer any serious conversation back into this kind of jovial, just waiting out the clock territory. Does Seeker have any other intention with this man other than waiting out the clock?
Anytime the man asks a question that's like related to what's going on, Seeker's going to ask him to turn on the candle first.
He asks you no questions about what's going on.
Okay, then yeah, no, Seeker just... If this guy wants to just play games, fine.
He wants to engage in small talk and play cards and talk about women, and it's absolutely nothing important. He's dressed exactly like a black jacket. He's got the whole uniform on. He's got all the accoutrements. He's got all the magical doodads. And you guys sit there for hours, all afternoon. Food is brought to you. As the sun starts to go down, another runner enters the building, this one rolling in a barrel. It's all right, it's about that time. He slides your spell focus back across the table to you.
Okay, I'll take it.
Stay quiet and try not to move. You may want to put your fingers in your ears.
All right.
He bids you enter this barrel.
Seeker gets into the barrel. I'm curious.
And then he hammers the barrel closed with Seeker inside of it.
Sure, I'm curious as to what's happening.
And then you are cognizant of being rolled through the streets of Dunfoss, bouncing along the cobbles by this man's runner. A good ways across the city as it happens.
Yeah.
And eventually the barrel comes to a stop. And inside you're battered and bruised. Your head is spinning. The four of you arrive at the ship that you've chartered, at the boat that's supposed to take you. Here, let me get the region map out here, so we have a better idea. The idea is you're supposed to take a ship from Dunfoss here down to this unnamed little port village, from which you're going to enter the woods along this road. Was that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Seeker is not there by the appointed time. At this point, the sun has gone down. You've chartered this ship. It's leaving tonight with or without you.
Lucius is probably trying to stall the captain of the thing as long as he possibly can, trying to buy Seeker as much time as he can.
Are you offering him gold?
Yeah.
How much?
10 gold. 10 gold.
10?
Yeah. Just until our friend gets here. And Lucius looks at the rest of his companions like, someone's gotta have access to the ability to send him a message, find out where the fuck he is.
I used all my second level slots to kill that Rakshasa, so.
We've had a long
Shasa.
we had a long rest since then. Remember?
No. I asked you guys if you want to take the long rest.
Oh, right.
People did stuff instead.
Yeah. Florian, where did Seeker say he was going?
What are they called? I'm gonna butcher.
The Lolly-Lolo?
What are he called? The Blackjackets?
Where the healing guild.
The Fidruya shop.
the Fydruishad.
Mm-hmm.
Seeker and I were going to go visit.
Why did you come back? Why did you leave?
I was under the impression that I was wanted, so not willing to pursue that line of truth, I booked it back to the barge.
Lucius, as you and the captain, who's very impatient with you at this point, as you're negotiating whether or not you can buy yourself a few more hours with 10 gold, considering the stuff on this ship that's supposed to be delivered south is worth way more than that. As you're having this, you're interrupted by one of the deckhands, and there's a brief argument between him and one of the captain about cargo that's been loaded onto the ship an hour or two past that wasn't on the manifest. And instead of dealing with you, the captain leaves to deal with that.
All right, so guys, we got to go
Can I
find
follow
Seeker.
after him?
You what? Follow him?
Yeah, or do they prevent me from following after him?
No, I mean, they're just crossing the boat to the other side of the vessel.
Yeah, I'll go with them.
In
Yeah, we're gonna have
fact,
to figure out where Seeker is.
I think I have this. I do. Hold on.
I mean, look, Lucius can talk anyone to anything. I'm sure for 10 gold we'll get a couple of hours. Maybe Florian and I can. Do you have like alter self or anything, Florian?
You need to put like a bell on Seeker.
I have invisibility.
So it's,
Oh,
not,
hey, that works.
it's not a large boat.
Yeah.
But there's cargo stuffed into the holds below. The crew of the ship is only 3 people. You guys actually amount to quite a lot of the cargo space. You're going to be sleeping under the stars, kind of in between boxes and barrels and things that have been battened down with ropes.
Sure.
It's not unusual for boats like this to kind of overstuff themselves to capacity. They're just sailing down the coast for a couple days. These are safe waters, blessed by Osprey for whatever that's worth. Lucius, following them over, there is indeed a keg of ale that's not on the manifest from one of the local taverns in town. And at this point, they're supposed to be underway. You guys are keeping them up. There's not enough time to send a man out to this tavern to figure out what's going on, or whether they've been paid to carry this, or who's supposed to pick it up in the docks, or where they're supposed to take it to.
Lucius thumps on it, expecting to hear the sloshing of liquid inside.
I mean, it's not going to move when you thump on it. It's been tied down with ropes.
Oh. Well, there's no sloshing of liquid or anything inside?
Captain, it sounds hollow. It doesn't sound like there's much of anything in it. But when the captain sees that you've taken an interest in this barrel, he says, "Oi, is this yours?"
Not that I'm aware of.
He holds his hand out. He says, "I'll accept the 10 gold. I'll give you 2 more hours."
Pay the man.
And he says, "And I relinquish the contents of this barrel to your custody." And he turns back to the deckhand and says, "There, I've solved the problem." And he stomps off in a huff.
Alright, so Lucius can be invisible. I can be on Sparky. Gus.
I could just have my helmet
Lucius
down.
cannot be invisible.
I'm sorry. Florian can be invisible.
Are we just the same to you? Is that what it is?
No, I'm
Lucius,
So, Lucius, you buy yourself a few more hours.
So it's a keg of ale, right?
It's supposed to be. It's a large wooden cask.
Lucius loosens the ropes and attempts to slosh it around, trying to look for liquid inside.
And it's not full of liquid.
Uh,
There's something large and solid bumping around in there.
can
I'll hand you the crowbar.
wait. Before we do that, can Gus just pick the barrel up?
Gus is like, "I better stab with my sword a bunch of times."
I'm just gonna shake it. That's all.
Gus picks up the barrel and shakes it back and forth vigorously. Yeah, there's something
Yeah.
rattling around in there.
Yep, there's something in there. All right.
I'll hand Gus my crowbar.
Yep. I'm just gonna do it. This doesn't sound like any beer I've heard.
Just to be safe, I better pick it up and shake it again.
Yeah.
Crack open the barrel, right?
You
Yeah.
take your crowbar to the barrel, pry the nails out one by one, and when you open it up, you see Seeker laying in the bottom of the barrel.
Oh, it's not ale.
What took you guys so long? I've been here for hours.
Gus is going to like put the lid back on, and he's going to shake the barrel again. And he's going to shake the barrel again.
Lucius calls out to the captain and says, "That won't be necessary. We all our passengers are accounted for."
We're not getting our 10 gold back, are we?
No, we're not.
We
No.
are not.
Gus
What
is going to
10
shake
gold?
the barrel again.
What 10 gold?
Gus just shakes the barrel even harder at that outburst.
So, what happened to you, Seeker in the Dark?
And Seeker looks down into the barrel. I was seeking.
In the dark. Huh? Well, whatever's between you and Osprey. That's all I have to say about that. And Lucius
And as
walks
the
away.
boat starts to, as soon as they, cut the ropes or untie it from the dock and start to shove off, Alex will pull one of the bottles of wine out of his bag of holding, pull out a bottle opener, offer it around.
Yes.
Wait! Don't open the bottle yet. I want to check something.
What?
And Alex has the bottle opener like on top of it, ready to screw it down in.
Do you still have
Do you
your,
guys think that thing that opens doors would crack that cork right out?
the thing that opens doors?
Yeah. You know, your thing. You, Lucius.
I've never tried that before.
I'll hand the bottle to Lucius.
Are you going to cast knock on a bottle?
No,
No.
that'd be ridiculous.
Let me look at the text of the spell.
And Alex lights a cigarette.
What's,
Alex, do you have your?
I don't know what's happening
No,
right now. What's
I
the,
don't either.
What's the goal
This
here?
wouldn't work. It
Okay,
wouldn't work.
don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Noodle wants me to science casting thaumaturgy on this bottle, which I think is just going to shatter it, and I don't think so. Because Lucius knows the text of the spell, and
All right, then I'm disappointed. Let's open up the bottle then.
Do you have your Alex? Do you have your jug of infinite mayonnaise?
Do I have that today? Let me look. No,
Why do
I,
you
have the
not
lan-
know
I made
if
the
you
lantern
looked
of
up the
revealing.
name?
Okay. Just wondering.
So the crew is the old captain and two boys who you surmise to be his sons. At night, they cram themselves down in the hold. You're left to sleep underneath the stars, and the journey south. Not a long journey by ship. What did I say? You can cover 6 tiles in one day.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not even a full day's journey by boat. The good news is you have the wind at your back. The bad news is it rains basically the whole time.
I
Did
mean,
everybody
Gus-
mark down what coins you're carrying?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Does anyone have anything they need me to stuff in the bag? Like anything large would have wanted to bring out of the city? Okay.
Gus just spends the entire trip white girl wasted on wine, I think.
Of course.
Alex sets up a little tent as best he can within the between pieces of cargo and tries to work out a makeshift lab. Get some work done.
Okay. The journey south to this unnamed, unmapped, un-NPC'd fishing village. Completely unremarkable, other than the fact that you arrive wet and miserable. Are we setting out on the road immediately upon arrival? Is that the plan?
Did we send ahead for a carriage, or are we just gonna rent one now? Because I think that's what we talked about doing, was renting a carriage.
Do we need a carriage?
I mean, that's up to you.
Not especially.
I mean, I've got
I know it was talked about. That's why it was.
all the stuff in my lab fits in the bag. So.
I mean, Lucius would whine, but not make a deal of it.
Okay.
We have
Not
10.
make it a deal
That's
breaker.
Saddlebag saddle, so
Yeah.
got a lot of carrying capacity.
We wouldn't. That means
Should we? So if it takes, is that like 24 hours to get there? So we arrive there in the middle of the night, or a little bit less than that?
You arrive in the middle of the night, yes.
Yeah. Let's. My vote is for get a room at whatever inn we can to dry out and get a good rest, and then head out in the morning.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Go ahead and pay for whatever the book says the inn costs.
How much is just a I don't know, just like a flask of some unspecified booze cost?
I think the lowest booze price in the player's handbook is something like, what is it, like 1 silver?
I don't mean like ale. I mean like actual just hooch. So
I don't know. You're
yeah,
gonna
okay.
you're gonna have to look it up.
Yeah.
It's in the PHP.
Yeah, don't.
So
I
I
just
got
gotta like get a flask of
my
alcohol.
dole on the long rest got a 4, so I'm fine.
Okay. Are we hiring a carriage? Are we purchasing horses, pack animals, anything like that? I mean, your overland journeys to the woods itself is going to be relatively short. You're just traveling through well-maintained roads through the surrounding farmlands.
Do we have any information on like how well maintained? Like, because I think you told us previously that they actually maintain this road up to a certain point because they log.
Correct. It goes into the woods for a certain distance.
Okay.
And all of the roads that run through the region that you can see on the map, these are renowned for being particularly safe to travel. Dunfoss prides itself on its road systems to its surrounding villages and to neighboring kingdoms. The next morning, which would be, let's see, you guys traveled most of the 14th by boat, so the next morning would be the morning of the 15th. So you would have arrived here on Rain's Day, and that's very fortuitous because the rain does not let up the whole time you're traveling along the road. It is a miserable journey, and you're not sure whether the weather is ever going to break or whether it's slowing you down. Seeker,
Yeah.
have you visited the outskirts of
Yes.
of this wood before?
I visited the outskirts of the wood, and I went into it briefly, but I wasn't able to find a path to the tower.
Where on the map was that?
I probably would have taken the road to here and then walked here before entering the forest.
Okay. So you didn't enter using the road.
Oh wait, but you can see the tower from anywhere. No, I would have entered from the road. Yeah.
Okay. And after probably a half day's journey in the wet and the misery of it, gray skies coming through the farmlands and then through the wilderness, and you can start to see the forest, the wood on the horizon. And you can see in the far distance, breaking above the canopy of the wood, just this stone spire reaching for the sky. And this is the tower that you recall, Seeker, having seen it from at least 2 different points.
Mm-hmm.
And as the forest grows nearer, you're not certain the tower does. The path as it goes into the wood, it's well maintained in the sense that there are like wagon ruts on the ground, and the path is kept clear of vegetation. And on either side of it, as you go in, there are sorts of animal paths leading out beyond the tree line in either direction. And eventually, after another hour or so of traveling through the wood, you realize that you no longer have a tree line on either side of the path. The wood has started to overtake the road entirely. And shortly after that, you're no longer walking on a road or in between wagon ruts at all. You're just kind of stomping through the mud on what looks like still a decently stamped down path, but now it's very clearly just a woodland path.
Didn't you say that there was a village here? A dilapidated village?
Way down south. So you guys would be about on this hex at the moment.
Okay. So, thoughts about going like so? It just no matter does Seeker know if anybody's actually tried to fly to the tower?
That's a good question.
It would take me longer. It would take longer than the magic that I have in me to be able to fly up there. because you're talking each covering 6 hexes in a day. Yeah, you're looking at like what 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's longer, way longer than 10 minutes. Even 20 minutes with 2 castings of the spell.
Other than it being wet and muddy and miserable, the journey is more or less uneventful. You were not set upon by brigands who are neither singing nor
I see a cleric of some sort.
a cleric of some sort. They're all carrying some kind of weapon. One of them's a drummer. Why? We don't know. Wait, he's not a drummer. He's just dressed like a drummer.
Jack
Right, we don't
Frost
know
is
what he
drummer.
is.
Yeah, it could be some foul person who's like pretending to be a drummer. That most heinous of crimes.
So you guys have been marching through the woods for a couple of hours. And intuitively, you feel like you've been traveling much, much longer beyond the tree line than you would have expected to have traveled to reach the stone spire that you saw from the road when the tree line was still way off in the distance.
Mhm.
Now, do we have a map that looks something like the one that we have? Like, do the characters have an idea of what the distance should actually be, or are we only able to judge this from outside?
Hasn't
More or
nobody
less,
ever-
but keep in mind that this would be like a Renaissance era
Yeah,
map, which maps are more works of art than anything.
Right.
So
Yeah,
if
relative distances may not be accurate.
the representation of the tower on the forest is just, hey, there's a magic tower somewhere in this wood. However, a
If
piece
need
of
be.
information you do have about this forest is that people who go into these woods always make incredibly accurate maps. It's just a
If-
function of the magic of the place.
If need be, I can cast fly to get some bearings on this place to make sure we're continuing to travel in the correct direction.
Do you want to do that when we break for lunch?
Yeah.
While you're doing that, I'm going to send up my familiar,
Okay?
and I'm going to attempt to use what it can see to draw a map to the tower.
Sure. And when you send the familiar up above the canopy of trees, and it gets a good look at the horizon in all directions, it can see the stone spire, and it looks the same distance away in the same direction you've been traveling as it did hours ago when you were walking between the wagon ruts.
Can what
That's
is
fine.
the-
I'm suspicious that maybe we can use the ability to draw good maps to draw a map to the tower if we're in the forest.
what happens when your Tressum flies towards it? Like, does it
Honestly, I'm a little suspicious that it'll become unavailable for me to get back because I can only talk to it when it's close to me.
Mhm.
So I don't want to take the chance at the moment. Not until we try this out.
I mean,
Just-
hopefully,
I can
my
only
hope
talk to
is
100
it just
feet away.
looks like that no matter how far away you are, and once we get close enough, once we get to the actual distance it looks away, it'll start looking closer.
How messed up would it be if you guys get to this tower and I just run a hatch opens again?
I mean, I'd
be
be okay
pretty
with
funny.
that, honestly.
I was expecting it, to be honest. Just running the same thing. Five new adventures. Just
Like,
open
where on this map did that happen? I think that was off of this map, but I'm not 100%
Oh,
sure.
that was much,
It was
much,
off
much
this
further
map.
south. Yes. This
Okay.
that was on the bigger map.
It's
That's
a
what I
moving
thought.
tower.
When you guys break for lunch, I mean, are you just gonna hunker down in the muck somewhere? Or are you gonna look for some sort of shelter? Are you gonna leave the path at all? What's the plan here?
If thaumaturgy and prestidigitation can get us a good dry clean patch, I'll start up a campfire.
No, there's nothing dry or clean about this situation.
I'll just like the tarp part of one of our tents. I'll just drape it over a couple of trees so we have an overhang.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
So,
then
are you-
From that point, okay.
You're attempting to build a fire underneath this tarp area? Is that the idea?
Do we need a fire? I mean, all my rations are fine cold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's not worry about the fire then.
Okay.
I can warm food.
Yeah, I think we're fine without the fire.
What's Lucius doing?
I'm going to cast fly and attempt to fly up above the canopy just to get an idea of our bearings.
Okay. So as you guys are breaking for lunch, Lucius casts fly, and Lucius, you notice, in the sky, I mean, are you going up above the weather, or just above
Just
the
the-
canopy of trees?
Just the canopy of the trees.
Because it's just this, just complete, just black mofo of a cloud is organizing all across, in all directions, and you start to see thunder strikes off in the distance of the stone spire. Nearby, barely in the direction of the path that you've been following, kind of splitting the difference between the actual path you're following and as the bird flies to the stone tower, you see, very hazy in the distance because of the decreased visibility, because of the wind and rain, a clearing. And you see where one path juts into the clearing from one direction, vanishes into the woods on the other side, and a similar path coming perpendicular, intersecting the first. And a large, some kind of structure sitting there. Not sure what it is from this distance, but it has to be fairly large, kind of sitting just off of the intersection.
And let's just go come back down to the camp area and tell him what he saw.
So you guys want to head to the? So from what I heard, the way I understood that is there's a path that goes down here, and then from here there's a path that goes this way.
No, I mean, this is all taking place probably within one hex.
One hex or
1 hex.
Okay.
Yeah, like this is probably all taking place in this one hex here.
Sorry, I got Final Fantasy V on the brain where you can see across the world.
Right, yeah.
So basically, there's a path going this way and a path going this way. Correct?
So yeah, Lucius, the implication you got is that the path that you're following will twist and turn through the trees and eventually enter into this clearing, and another path from another direction intersects it.
okay. So if I guess we could stop at that clearing, find it, get our bearings again, and figure out where we need to go from there.
I mean, the clearing can only help my map, so
Fair
I'm
enough.
all for it.
Yeah.
Do you want to take an hour while we're eating, Lucius, and get your flyback?
Sure.
Yeah, Lucius, you can do that. Go take the benefits of
And
the short rest.
Alex sits down with a piece of steel wool and starts removing a bit of rust from Scrappy's feet.
Just cast protection from rust.
That would be a really cool spell.
Protection from rusty.
Be really
weasels.
valuable spell.
You guys have your lunch, and you scour the parts of Scrappy that are not enjoying the rain and the muck. Then you set off down the path. And yeah, sure enough, after a few minutes, the trees start to thin out into this open clearing. And an enormous boulder is sitting off to the side of the intersection of this crossroads. And opposite the boulder, the opposite side of the intersection, is a wooden signpost shaped like an arrow with, it looks very old, but it looks well maintained. Like the sign's not broken. It's dangling from two chains held up by the scaffolding. It's been painted. Looks, I mean, difficult to say, but maybe relatively recently. And it says, Bicklebell House. Dry beds, warm food, excellent company. The sign itself is shaped like an arrow, and it's pointing at the path perpendicular if you make a right turn in this clearing.
I could go either way, honestly. I would prefer warm food and a place to put the feet up.
I don't know. The last time we tried,
I know.
just saying, vampires, evil hand.
Look, we're detectives. We're not adventurers. That's not going to happen again.
Also, if it did happen, they'd probably know where the tower was.
Yeah, that's a good point. Also, maybe we'll find another evil hand and complete the set.
Gus wants to hold an evil hand in each of his hands and make them do an evil handshake.
This would be like, yes.
Gustavus, wouldn't completing the set also mean finding legs and a torso, head? Wouldn't that
No.
really be
It's
completing
just
the set?
the set just includes hands. There's nothing else, just hands.
Very well.
It's the serial killer set.
Who's ever heard
Saying
of the
those
torso of
things-
Vecna?
those words that came out of your mouth, I'd like for you to think before you use them again, please.
So what's
You
next?
don't need to be a serial killer to get 2 hands. You can do that with 1 death.
Do you think the set of all sets includes itself?
What's next?
Why wouldn't it?
One of these days, I'm gonna take my break and not tell you guys. Like, I'll just be gone for 15 minutes while you all discuss some real tedious shit.
I mean, I've been working on questions that might cause an automaton to fail its ability to process them.
Oh my god, you're fired. What's next?
So,
I can't. I can't.
I think we should go to the. You said Bickleberry House,
Bicklebell House.
Bicklebell House.
Yeah.
I mean, it can't be more than a day's travel, right? My
Yeah,
only
that's what I was
caution
gonna
is if we travel more than a day in that direction, don't find anything, we should just head back.
Yeah.
Then we'll have lost 2 days. I would like us to continue on to the tower.
What is
Well,
Seeker's
you can
thought?
think about it this way, Florian, is that since the tower is visible from wherever you are, the tower could be anywhere, and thus it's equally likely that it's in that direction.
Oh,
Also, don't you want to learn
interesting.
the Bickle what?
Bicklebell.
Picklebear.
The Bicklebell's truth about the tower?
And Seeker goes over to Alex and says, Alex, I've been working on questions that when posed might break Florian.
I mean, I'm sure Picklebell House has a story
There
or
might be.
two and a truth or two about tower, but
I might be able to spy it from the air anyway, before we come up on it.
And even as you're standing here discussing it, the weather is worsening, and you start hearing loud peals of thunder.
Yeah. Yeah, let's... I don't want to stay in the sky too long if I do that, though. I don't like the look of the sky.
appears that I'm outvoted, and Bickleville House it is. Bickleville? Bickleville. Bickleville.
Pickle Bell.
Turning the road in that direction, the forest becomes very dark, even though it's only late afternoon, just because of the black clouds overhead, blotting out the sun. All of you are soaked. Seeker's casting prestidigitation 8 times a minute.
It's worth it.
Florian's helping.
Like once every 6 seconds. So
Right.
time.
And the path you're following, you start noticing, not frequently, but now and again, you'll see a wooden post along the side of the road that looks like, in better weather, a lantern could be held from. Some of these small metal lanterns are in place, some of them are not. None of them are lit right now. But you start noticing them, and they become more and more frequent as you travel the path. Until almost all of a sudden, surprisingly quickly, this would have to be after the sun goes down, after a couple of hours of traveling. Everything is illuminated by a lightning strike. And perfectly framed up ahead, 30, 40 feet up a small hill, you see the manor house. Just for a moment. Backlit and wonderful. And very inviting indeed.
That's vaguely ominous.
Thank you, S. Mitchell.
Florian changed. I mean, excuse me. I changed my vote to be in line with Florian's. I think we should just keep
his
it.
pace.
I think
How do they keep that place funded? Where do they find the workers? And Seeker's just kind of walking towards it.
like I'm like, Alex, no, stop, please, no. This is the kind of bullshit adventurers get involved in.
I'm pretty sure non-adventurers go to houses in the middle of the woods. How else would they have business?
Got you there.
I reserve the right
Okay,
to
no,
say
it's,
I told you so.
I observe your observation of that right and endorse it.
Okay.
Gustavus,
What?
I could have used your vote when we were at the signpost.
We still would have
Not-
been outvoted.
Whatever this is. Though I admit,
Listen,
I am
I'm
very curious now.
Oh my god.
So happy.
This is a bad idea, everybody.
The house sits on a hill.
I want to kick the road off of my boots, fellows. I don't know about you.
So I guess it's official. Gus is like Shaggy in this. Like, no, let's not go into this spooky house in the woods.
The house sits on a hill, and surrounding the hill, palisade is the wrong word, but a wooden wall the trees have been cleared up to, that again has been painted, it looks like relatively recently, encompassing the manor house and a couple of surrounding structures that you can't really see very well because of the darkness. And it's well into night as you approach the outer gates, which stand open.
Is there a gatehouse or just the gate?
No, just this wooden gate that's currently open. It looks like it can be wide enough to I forgot words to accommodate a carriage,
Yep.
a full carriage coming in. But you don't see the wheel ruts or anything on the ground. You do see where large flat stones have been placed, leading from the gate up to the house itself. Lucius, you've got crazy weirdo dark vision, yes?
I do.
Okay. Make a perception check.
$20.
20. The main house stands in front of you, and there is some illumination. A soft blue glow, where you kind of see in the front face of the house, you kind of have this entryway area, and you see a faint blue glow coming from it. The door to the main house is closed. Off to the left of the main house, up the stone path leading up the hill, if you were instead to walk off to the left and go around the side of the hill, inside of the wooden wall surrounding the hill, is a much smaller structure. And Lucius, squinting your eyes and looking out, you surmise it to be a well house. Off to the right-hand side, equidistant in the other direction, on the other side of the hill, is a much, much larger structure. And you see the path in the dirt and the grass is well beaten between the stone path and there. You surmise that to be a barn or a stables.
All right.
Okay.
I'll relay that to the others.
Okay.
I say we approach the manor house and kick.
Yeah, let's just go up and knock.
Okay.
And, yeah.
Going up to the front door, as I get my...
The Cookie Monster jumps out and plays the Cookie Monster jam.
I have to correlate. Now, I gave a word of warning to these guys before we started playing today that this is a heavily experimental adventure. So I'm going to have to ask for patience as I correlate a lot of information between what's on tabletop and what's on my screen in Photoshop and what's in my various notes.
Yeah.
Like this is
I'm gonna ask.
this is so involved that I actually have an pen and paper notepad on the desk because I have to make sure I don't have two disparate pieces of information in two different text files that I can't see at the same time. But
Well, I was just gonna ask a very serious question, which is, would it be distracting if we talked while you're looking stuff up?
No.
Or would you prefer us to talk?
I would prefer singing.
Okay, you're getting talking though.
Okay,
Uh,
so
yeah.
approaching the front door, you come up into the entryway here, and it's a nice wooden house. As you get close enough to it, you see that it's very well maintained. You don't see any hints of cobwebs. It doesn't seem like dingy or uninviting. Good strong wood, and the stairs leading up to this entryway here. These are 5-foot squares, by the way.
Oh, So we're a little bit small for it, but
Whatever.
Lucius will.
These here
Uh,
on the map, whenever you see these on the map, these are actually magically illuminated orbs. This is the source of the blue light. And the front door stands looming before you. Large double wooden door. And there's a large knocker, a silver bell. And the lettering above it in common just reads Bickle Bell. The knocker is actually split in half down the center, spanning the door. So when the door opens, the knocker itself will seamlessly break.
Lucius steps forward right before he gets onto the entryway, and he will kick the mud off of his boots as best he can before actually stepping onto it.
Okay.
For what it's worth, I've got the continual flame coin on Scrappy's back right now.
And Lucius, you can see that you're not the first person to be concerned with your boots, because you see several pairs of boots lined up along the outside of the house. And the stairs leading up to the door are well trodden with muck. But you can see also where some care has been taken, because the doorway itself has been swept clean.
Lucius will kick his boots off and set them on the area, and then kind of approach the door.
Okay. And you stand in front of the bell-shaped knocker.
Seeker's keeping his boots on. He prestidigitations, his boots are clean.
Before we go in and knock on the door, can I make a request? It'll just take 10 minutes. Can the wizards go in with detect magic on?
I was thinking something along the lines of the same thing.
Sounds fine to me.
You know what?
Who's casting detect magic? Which of you?
I think both of us.
Okay, cast. Well, I mean, you don't have time to ritual it out here. So Lucius and Seeker are casting detect magic.
I do not have detect magic.
I have it prepared. I'll cast it.
Look,
I think it's worth a first level
And
spot.
okay, if that's the way you want to play this, Lucius, I'm going to pull the Lantern of Revealing out of my bag of holding,
Okay.
pour some oil into it, which I've been stockpiling with the alchemy jug, and light it.
What is a lantern of revealing?
The Lantern of Revealing, when lit, it burns for 6 hours, shedding light on a 30-foot radius and dim light an additional 30 feet.
Mhm.
Invisible creatures and objects are visible as long as they're within the light.
Okay. The lantern functions as expected, but you don't see anything invisible. Seeker,
Mhm.
casting detect magic, you detect the light magic coming off of these orbs. And for a moment, you're thinking that that's the only magic in the area, other than all the BS you guys are carrying.
Right.
You guys are like 85% magic by volume.
If you
But
take
then-
a magic piece off Seeker and pull it, he'll disappear.
Another lightning strike behind you. So for a moment during the flash, your field of vision as you're standing, you're casting the spell at the base of the stairs down here, like you haven't gone up into the
Yeah.
archway yet? Okay. I don't see you on the map, which is why I ask.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll put myself down there. Boop.
So for a moment, your field of vision is illuminated by the flash, and during that illumination, your detect magic spell is overwhelmed. The magical stimulus of it it's like a whiteout. It's like a high-pitched squeal bursting into your brain, and it only lasts that split second, but you find yourself reeling from it. It doesn't disrupt the spell or cause it to drop or do anything funky.
Oh, I was expecting a butt.
No, that was it.
Lucius
So-
cast prestidigitation, cleans off the remainder of his boots, and then he will carry them inside
Okay. Have you knocked on
What
the door?
when he eventually does go in.
Okay.
Did I get a sense of what kind of school?
From the lights?
From the light? No, from just the flash.
No, you just got this overwhelming sense of just incredible magical stimulus.
Just everywhere.
Completely destroying all 5 of your senses, and like 6 or 7 you didn't even know you had.
Magic tinnitus.
Yeah, and I'll say there's something very magical here, but I can't tell what.
To be clear, it's not causing damage. It's not doing anything bad to you.
No, yeah, I got you.